Tim, it was good to see you this week in Sydney at the InPlace event, and I think you've been in Melbourne. How did you find the 2 days?
Yeah, loved it. I thought John and Patrick put on a phenomenal show. We had a lot of good conversations, a lot of smart people there. I found the conference very well organised. Good senior people were there, good decision makers that were listening to a number of good vendors. A lot of vendors actually out in the community right now. Specialised vendors going out there and looking at all kinds of things. I think that one of the panels that I was on, we talked about what are the changing aspects of law, and how's law changed, not just within a law firm, from the automation aspect, but also from you vendors. What are you doing differently? Which was interesting.
Because you guys are still relatively new. I mean, if you look at, I've worked with technologists who've been around for 3-4 decades, amazingly. How long have you guys been going now?
This is year 8. So we've gone past the 7-year mark, 7-year itch. Yep. Gone past the 7-year itch and moved into year 8. We're loving it. It's great business, great company, great clients, and I just think that we've just got the right strategy in where we're going to go with the business, and the people I've got in the business are very impressive. I think the thing we've changed this year, based on all the trends, it's just like law firms are listening to their clients, and their clients are asking them to change their legal practices. We're doing the same thing. We're listening to our clients more, which is really important, because some of the other vendors that we've worked for in the past, particularly in the CRM space, just didn't do that, and they became stagnant. And with us, with a cloud-based SaaS, subscription-based pricing, the business has to really evolve. And if you're not listening and keeping up with trends, you're gone. And I think that's the big thing that I saw in this year's conference. There was a lot of vendors that had started to listen to their clients, which is really important.
I think I had a conversation. I was on a panel with one of the counsel from Microsoft, so he's got both sides of the fence kind of view. He said we were talking about how being a SaaS provider, it's that shift from, if you're on premise, you can put a piece of technology down and that's really the deal done. As soon as you're SaaS, the emphasis is every single day. It's a really different driver. Do you see that?
It is. Yeah. It's almost like a client renting your software. So at any point they can pull the contract. Whereas if you buy something, because you bought it, it's like, imagine a car. You bought the car, you're going to probably use it until it's 20 years old, and you're not that happy about it in 20 years' time. Whereas when you're renting something, a rental car, you've got this car, you expect it to be performing at its optimum all the time. And it's always in the latest version.
Bells and whistles and smartness. Be interesting to see how the Teslas cope, won't it, when they come out? Not relevant, but anyway, because they're more software than the car these days. Were there any big themes, or is it same old, same old?
Yeah, it's the same old, same old. You look at blockchain, but for me, it had less of an emphasis. So blockchain was still relevant, but less. AI, big. People are talking about AI all the time. As these smaller law firms are definitely incorporating that into making sure that they're profitable using automation. The touch on workflow and process improvement was talked about a fair bit, which we've done in our product. For example, we've got access to a process manager. We teach our clients on how to do that, so it helps with making our product more sticky. So if you don't do something or the client's at risk, you get informed about that pretty quickly. And I think that's another thing. So process improvements. There's a lot of talk about user adoption across all technologies. How can we increase user adoption? So that's not really a technology change. It's just our partners and our fees starting to grasp that there's a lot of technology changes, but are they getting to grips with your solution in particular, Tim, for example?
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about user adoption. In the olden days of about 7 years ago, in the olden days of tech, a vendor would say, the function outweighs form, that actually the value return from the product overweighed any kind of clunkiness. I actually think that's turned 180 degrees now, and it's got to do what it needs, but the user adoption thing is so critical that it has to be easier to use. Is that what do you think about that?
It has to be. I mean, because they've got access, because now there's so many forms of technology. you've got access to, everyone's trying to fight for now the desktop, the actual user's desktop, but it has to be really simple to use, not just from maybe there's changes also on, for example, lawyers recording time. Are they really doing that now? Are they changing to more things like fixed price or alternative billing arrangements, which they're definitely doing? So, but there's a lot of touches on technology. There's a lot of use of these things. So you have to make sure that your product is mobile ready. You have to make sure that when you are letting them know about things, it's really simple for them to digest it. So reporting and analytics is really critical as well. So that's what we've done with ours. Our product's evolved. Our product was, in the early days, I thought a pretty B-class product, really. Now we definitely have a phenomenal product. We've listened to our clients, and this is year 7, so year 8 now. And if we don't do that, as I said, there are young businesses. We're now an old business. Young businesses will just come through and make our life hell. But you have to do that. You have to keep lists. Yeah.
Exactly, and in the end, it all services the consumer, the customer. So I'm just thinking if there's anything else from the event perspective. It's quite a big commitment from you. You're traveling the globe, I know, but showing up and joining in. What else did you get from the events?
I thought it was a brilliant event. I mean, obviously, this event's now, I think, in the 3rd or 4th year. And I remember when I started the business, cloud was an ugly word. Everyone was saying, I can't believe you're building a product in a cloud-based solution. It'll never take off in a law firm. And we knew that it would. Obviously, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that that's the way technology evolves. It's evolving into the cloud, hosted solutions, managed security. So there was a lot of discussion around the security aspects of the cloud. There's been a number of breaches. The fortunate situation that we're in is that we're built in Salesforce, and Salesforce has a phenomenal security model. If they were breached in any way, their business would be gone overnight. And you're talking about a $90 billion company. So we're lucky to have actually, chosen that as a platform, and we're, standing on the shoulders of giants here with what they've got to deliver. That said, our products, we got asked a lot. How does your product differentiate from Salesforce? That was asked a lot because a lot of them were considering going down that route. And the difference that we have with our product is that our product actually has 7 patents that we've protected that we've got in our product, that we could very easily move that bit of functionality off our product and plonk it on a different platform and be up and running. So that's smart, yeah. And we're not beholden necessarily to a platform provider, but we obviously are in bed with Salesforce because they really do look after their platform. Not to say there won't be another platform at some point in the future that rivals Salesforce.
Well, I do think it's something I've always suspected the legal sector would start to do. There's only the economics of building and running a business in a software business are it's expensive, which is why we've seen such slow development, and then the cloud arrived, and particularly platforms, and then we've seen the explosion. So I think
absolutely.
What was I going to ask? Wait, you're in transit at the moment, aren't you?
I am. I'm in Melbourne, so I'm about to head back to Singapore. Yeah, that's why I've got a little T-shirt on. See that? Yeah, already on the plane.
So I'd like to thank you for joining this interview, and wish you safe travel.
Thank you, Andrea. Lovely talking with you as always. You are a gem. Bye.